everyone, welcome back to Sharon Cullen Art. Today is Tiny Tuesday Tutorial Day, and I'm just going to do a quickie little fall scene here for you today. I actually did it once and it turned out like crap. You know, I'm finding, for me, I'm not used to painting small, so I really have to slow down and pay attention to what I'm doing, the amount of water that's on my paper and all of that. This is a 4-inch square B paper, 100% cotton, lower quality cotton paper, but it's still okay for doing something like this. And this is going to be a fall scene. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to wet the entire page. I've put in some stuff for a tree so that I can keep my perspective on how big I need to make this painting. But I'm just going to put the water on here, and then I'm going to take, I'm using different colors. I'm using some Payne's Gray, ultramarine blue, probably some burnt sienna, or I may be using some transparent red oxide. We'll see. A little bit of hematite burnt scarlet. You can use some burnt umber or whatever you want. Little raw sienna, yellow ochre, and Aussie red gold. Now I've got all these. It doesn't mean I'm going to use them all, but I used quite a few of them in my first painting. So now I'm going to grab some of my Payne's Gray, and I'm just going to stick this at the top. And we're going to have a nice fall red sky, and I'm just going to kind of let this drain down, but I want it darker at the top. By the way, Pat had his total knee replacement surgery today. I just got off the FaceTime with him, and he looks great. It's really hard for me not being able to see him. I couldn't go into the hospital or anything. They're not allowing visitors here at this hospital yet. So, yeah, that was hard. Now, I don't want that to go much further because I want it to have that rainy sky look. So I'm going to kind of try to dry off some of this water here. I don't want it to come all the way to the bottom. There, that might help it. Now my brush is still a little bit dirty. Now on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead in with some yellow ochre, which I will put on my palette here. And that will go down on the front portion of the paper. It's still not very wet. There we go. You can go right through the tree trunk if you want to. It doesn't really matter. I'm kind of going around it. Now I'm just making that go that way. Oops, I got a little too much yellow ochre here. There we go. There, I wanted some darkness to this, but not too much. Let me lift a little bit of that. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm just going to lift that excess color up. I can lift that up because I want to put some foreground grasses in, and if I keep this background light, then we'll see it later. Now on the back area here, I'm going to use some of my raw sienna, which is a little bit darker than yellow ochre. Now, if you want to add a tinge of burnt sienna to some yellow ochre, you can do that too. But I just want this to be a little bit darker in the background. Like that. There. Now those things can dry, and I'm going to take some of my Payne's Gray, and I'm going to mix a little bit of that yellow ochre into my Payne's Gray, which is going to kind of green up my gray a bit. Let me do that a little bit more again here. Take that and some yellow ochre, and it's going to be kind of a chalky looking gray because yellow ochre is not truly transparent. It's semi-transparent because it's an earth color, so it gives it that muddy look. Now I want my trees to be kind of a very dull greenish gray in the background. I'm just going to go all the way across. And then I'm just going to raise these up here and there. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow ochre and just dot that in here and there so it looks like I've got some fall trees way back in the background. Now I'm putting more here because I'm going to have leaves coming through there and I don't want to fight the green. So that's why I did that. There. Now we're going to go ahead and just let that dry. I really like how the sky turned out, the way it looks like it's raining again. So I'll come back once this is dry and we'll move on. I hate to cover up any of that sky, but I'm going to have to at some point, a little bit of it anyway. Now I've got some hematite burnt scarlet on here, and I'm going to grab a little more of my Payne's Gray. They're going to meet in the middle so that I can make a dark gray brown for my tree trunk. You can use some burnt umber if you have it. I'm just wanting to use these colors, and I'm not even sure if I have burnt umber. I think we had that discussion before. I thought I did have some burnt umber, but I can't seem to. Yeah, I do, and it's in my reds. Don't ask me why. I have no clue how that ended up there. That's why I can never find it. Jeepers. There. I'm going to grab a rigger. This is some old cheap one that I had probably from when I first started painting. It's a Winsor & Newton. I don't even know the size, but the paint has all come off of it. So I'm just going to use that for my branches. It's not dark enough. I'm going to grab some more of my Payne's Gray and more of my transparent burnt scarlet, or my hematite burnt scarlet, whatever it's called. I don't like doing my branches backwards like that. I like to do it this way. Okay. I can put more in when I'm done here. Also, I want to put in, I'm going to be putting in a fence line in the back. So I'm just going to, I'm going to go ahead with my leaves. I'm going to have a, let me try some burnt sienna here. Yeah, I don't think I want burnt sienna there. I think I might use my transparent red oxide, and I'm going to water it down a tinge just to dilute it. And then I want to put a tree back in the background, like right about here. And then over here, the same thing, but I'm going to start with some Aussie red gold, and I'm just going to bring these branches way up here. I'm using a number 4 sable brush. This is Rosemary and Company Series 33 sable. Poor Diesel, he was looking all over for Pat today. He does not like to be separated from us. If I'm gone, he's a mess. If Pat's gone, he's a mess. And I let him out after we got back from the hospital. he had to drive with us. So I let him out after we got back from the hospital, and he ran down toward the barn, which is Pat's portion of his compound. It's like his studio. And he ran down toward the barn. The barn door was closed. He runs down to the barn. He gets about 3 feet from the door, and then he realizes, oh, wait a minute, nobody's here. So then he makes a quick left turn, and he hightails it over to the lean-to, which is the other portion of the barn in front, and then there's a third barn attached to the back, which is his workshop. But he went over to the side and saw that door closed, and he just kind of freaked. He didn't know what to do with himself. And he came back, and he was all bummed out. I felt so bad for the poor little guy. He was looking all over for Pat. So then when Pat and I were FaceTiming, he started singing. And when he sings, then Diesel sings, and he starts to howl. He'll sing Happy Birthday. He'll sing the 2.5 Men theme song, whatever. It's pretty funny. That tree just disappeared back there. That was not what I wanted to happen, but oh well. We'll see if I can fix that. So he came back all bummed out. I felt so sad for him. It was sad, but he's okay. He couldn't find his buddy, though. See, this is why I leave the trunks separated, because then I can put the leaves in there. And right now I'm just spreading color, and then I'm going to spread some leaves up from the bottom, too. Branches that have come off the edges there. And while that's wet, I'm going to go in a little bit darker. I'm also going to take some of that Aussie red gold too and mix it together with it. Trying not to use up my whole sky. Oops, I got to answer the door. Duty calls. The dog needs me. Come on, baby. You didn't find Daddy, did you? He's not coming home today. He'll be home in a few days. It's just you and me, kid. You can lay down over there. Go lay down. I'm working. Oh, you're going to lay at the door. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now back to my transparent red oxide. I'm going to go a little bit deeper and add in some more definition. Just a couple drops, because that's going to dry. There. And I'm going to leave that like that for a while and let that dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and put a fence in. I think I want to put a fence in along this slope. I would have liked that background to have been a little bit darker, but what I'm going to do is lightly draw this in. Normally I wouldn't draw it in, but I'm drawing it in today just for the video. The further away, the closer together your rungs will get, and as they move to the foreground, they will get further and further apart until they're way apart up here. That gives you the illusion of distance. So now I'm going to take a smaller brush. I've got a 0 here, DaVinci Maestro. Somebody was asking me if I used Maestro or Harbin Kolinsky's, and I use both, but I have a lot of Maestro brushes. That's a Maestro. I think 8's as big as I got. That was all I could afford. When you get up to a 10, it's when you start pushing $100 on a paintbrush, I haven't been able to do it. Here's another one. This one's a Harbin Kolinsky. That's a 6 Harbin Kolinsky, and you can tell that it's just not the same quality. They're very good brushes, don't get me wrong, but they're just different. Okay, so now I'm going to take my 0, and I'm going to take some more of that tree color, and I'm going to put it in here into my gray, but I'm going to brown it up a little bit more, I think. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the posts. And right now I've got them sitting straight up and down. I don't like to do that. It's part of the reason I don't draw them in. I like to make some of them falling over. Like that. They need to get a little taller too. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring these across. There we go. And that's pretty good. I'm going to have another one poking through the leaves here. May disappear as I finish my tree, but I just want that like that. Now I've got that down. Now what I'm going to do is after it dries, I want to try to add some more definition to the post. I'll add some gray underneath to make it lighter on top, darker underneath, or even just another layer of the same color is perfectly fine. And I'm also going to get some of my yellow ochre and my script brush, and I'm going to go ahead and put some grasses in.
I don't like how these grasses are turning out, so I will be removing them in a few minutes.
Want these to be taller on the side, but I kind of screwed that up. But I've got the tree there. I might just fix that with my tree. I'm going to take my wider brush here, add a little more this way. I don't like this. I'm going to scrub it. I don't normally scrub with my good brushes either. That's not good. Don't scrub with a good brush. There we go. Now I'm going to kind of let that dry, and I'm going to go back to my leaves and a little more of my transparent red oxide, and I'm just going to add more definition onto that. It looks like it's not dry yet, so I have to wait for that one to dry. This one's probably dry pretty close. And that green, I'm going to put a tree trunk there, so that should work. Okay. Okay, I let that dry with the magic of YouTube. Now I'm going to go back into my tree trunk color, and I'm just going to add a portion of a trunk here. Along with some branches. I want to go back to my script though, so that I don't mess that up. It's part of my problem with the small paintings is I end up with too big a brush. Most people paint with too small a brush, and I end up going too big sometimes, and I don't change because I get in the zone, and then it gets harder and harder and harder, and I'm doing finer and finer work, and I really should be using a smaller brush. You know what I mean? It's silly. I just put that tree into the other tree because it was easier than trying to make a separate tree out of it. Since they kind of blurred together, I just did that way. And I'm trying to distract from the green in the background by putting these branches here. You strategically place them when you're using transparent color, and you can make it kind of disappear. And this isn't dark enough, so I'm just going over it again. There, that helps. I'll make that poke out there too. Okay, and I need to finish this tree. This one's looking a little peaked. Whoops. Catching on everything here. I need to add more leaves there. I messed this up because my finger just touched it. See, the things that happen, it doesn't matter how experienced you are. It still happens. I have not been in the zone lately. Like I said, I've got so much. Oh, actually, it's not like I said because this is take 2 of the video. I've got so much going on right now, especially with Pat being in the hospital, and there's so many things I need to do. I need to fix up the guest room for him. I need to move plants out and stuff, and I have to pick up all the rugs around the house to make sure he can't trip. I did years of home care nursing too, so I know the drill about what to do when he comes home after a total knee, you know. So I'm gonna be busy. And Pat's on the phone with me, or on FaceTime with me, and he says, well, get busy on those Tiny Tuesday tutorials. Just pound a couple of them out so that you don't have to stress over them. And I said, okay. So I'm going to try to do another one right after this one so that I can not stress myself out. You know what I mean? That needs to be darker. And I'm going to mix some yellow ochre into my red oxide because it is not transparent. And I can make these leaves opaque. See that little trick? And now they blend from the sky a little bit better and they don't look so odd, like you're seeing right through them. See how I did that? Semi-transparent colors really have their place. So if you're a transparent watercolor artist, more power to you. In some ways, that's just terrific. In other ways, you'll wish that you had some semi-transparent colors because those colors really help you to cover up areas that you really didn't mean to have showing. You know what I mean? I'm going to do the same here, and you just use yellow ochre up here instead of that other color. There we go. That works. Okay, now I need more branches here, but I need that to dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Payne's Gray and add a little bit more to my fence color. And I wiped off my brush, wipe off the excess, and then I'm just going to try to go underneath to darken. Not the whole thing, but just a portion underneath. This is a thin fence post though, so it's getting kind of hard. Need a little more here. Then I'm going to go down the side. That will help give that illusion. It gives it more of a 3D effect. Oops. I don't know if it's showing on camera. I might have you too far away. just do your best. If you can't do that, you can always try taking a black micron pen and doing it that way. Now I'm going to let this dry because I need to add a few more branches.
Now when you're painting branches in, do not paint them completely across all those leaves. Break the branches up so it looks like some of the leaves are in front of the branches and then some are behind, just like I did on the tree trunks. I believe I may have mentioned earlier that the yellow ochre is semi-transparent, which in most companies is the case, but Daniel Smith's is actually transparent. My red iron oxide is semi-transparent. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice.
And let me know down below if you'd like me to do Tiny Tuesday tutorials with gouache as well. I know some of you are very anti-gouache. Then I've heard other people telling me in some of my old gouache videos that, oh, they can't wait for me to do more. And so I don't know what people want. If you just let me know down below. I don't even know if those people are watching these Tiny Tuesday tutorials. So don't forget to sign your work, people. Let's see what we got here. I always bleed underneath. This must be a bad roll of tape. I don't know if it's the paper or the tape, if it's just not sticking well enough. I think I got a bad roll of tape. Somebody said, oh, I like the bleeding underneath. It adds character. That sounds like something my mom would say. Oh, and to the guy who said that I sound like somebody's nice, warm aunt you just want to love, I appreciated that comment so much. Thank you. That was so sweet of you, especially coming from a young guy like that. Okay, let me sign this. I need my 0 and my paint. And I will just go ahead and sign it right here. There we go. And we are all set with another Tiny Tuesday tutorial. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Let me know down below if something you would like to see me paint. Give me your ideas and things that you'd like to try, and I will throw them out there for you. In the meantime, everybody be courageous, paint with wild abandon, and most of all, be kind to each other. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. God bless you.